you've thought about your audience, figured out a topic, collected your materials, organized it, practiced your presentation, it's time to start thinking about audiovisual aids. We call them AV aids. They're also called sensory aids because you might be appealing to some sense besides sight or sound. You might, for example, be appealing to the sense of smell. You could bring in a hot, fresh pizza and give a speech about world hunger while your audience smells that hot, fresh pizza. That would be an olfactory aid. But in general, we usually default to AV aids, audiovisual. First thing to remember is use them only if they enhance your speech. Do not have spelling errors in your PowerPoint presentation. Make sure that you don't have just a wall of words. It should be more keywords that the audience can read easily. Make sure your font is big enough. Make sure the slides aren't too busy. Make sure you're not using dark text against a dark background. I often have students who do this, and on a big screen, the only thing the audience will really be able to see on a line like that is the period, because everything else is almost invisible with that dark text against a dark background. The human eye is attracted to light. So if you want the audience to be able to see your visual aids, use light text against a dark background. In fact, we usually recommend using blue. Audiences respond very positively to the color blue. We tend to find it a positive color. If it's a dark blue, it seems competent and trustworthy. You may have noticed that Facebook, for example, uses for its logo blue and white. Audiences have a very positive reaction to that color scheme. Even if you don't want to use blue and white, do be aware of the messages your color scheme sends. If you use orange and black, what's the audience going to think? Halloween. Yes. If you use orange and brown, they're going to think Thanksgiving. If you use purple and white, they might think TCU Horned Frogs, right? So be aware of the color scheme you choose and the kind of messages that sends. Oh, if you use black and white, that's like the poison logo or the pirate flag. So unless you're giving a speech about pirates or poison, I would stay away from black and white. Be sure to practice with your visual aids. You don't want to be that person standing up at the front of the room in front of the audience going, how do I work this thing, right? Figure that out ahead of time because otherwise your credibility will be lowered. Always, always, always have a plan B. I don't know why, but with technology, it seems like Murphy's Law is especially true. Murphy's Law says whatever can go wrong will go wrong. So the batteries will be low in your remote. The internet will be down and you will have emailed yourself your presentation and you won't have access to it. So be sure that you email it to yourself, save it to a flash drive, print out a couple of slides to use as handouts if you need to. Always have a plan B. In fact, I would recommend having your speech memorized so that you can deliver it without your visual aids if you end up needing to do that. Don't let your visual aids overwhelm your speech. Sometimes I'll have students who, for example, will play a clip, a music clip at the beginning of their speech. And that's fine. It's a good way to get the audience's attention. But then they'll keep the music playing throughout the entire speech at full volume. And we can't hear or understand what they're saying because all we can hear is the music. If you have an audio clip or a video clip, just play it very quickly. About 1 minute is a good length for an audio or video clip. And then turn it off so that it doesn't overwhelm the rest of your speech. Remember, visual aids are aids. They are there to be in the background. They're there to help, but they should not be the primary focus of your speech. Display visual aids only while referring to them. Let's say you're giving a speech about China and you put up a map of the world so that you can show where China is on the map of the world. Then you move on to Chinese language and culture. But you leave up the map of the world. Is your audience paying attention to your fabulous information about Chinese language and culture? No. They're looking at that map going, where's Texas on that map? Because we do that. We just want to locate ourselves on the map. So don't give the audience an excuse to go down a bunny trail. Keep them focused. Keep your visual aids up only while you're specifically talking about those visual aids. Don't talk to your visual aids. You'd be amazed how many times I have to tell students turn around and face the audience. Don't talk to the board. Don't talk to the screen. Keep your eyes on your audience. Every now and then, of course, it's good to check your visual aids and make sure that what's there is what's supposed to be there. But most of the time, you want to make sure that you are talking to the audience.